Today I'll be summarizing the book, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Financial success is not about knowledge. It's all about behavior. A smart person can still make dumb financial decisions if they can't control their greed, emotion, or their fear. Someone who grew up in poverty thinks differently about money than someone who grew up wealthy. Your environment shapes the way that you think about money. Your environment is important because someone who is next to people that are making decisions and taking risks and making money is more likely to do the same than someone who's telling people that those things are a scam. They're more likely to believe those things. Now, if you look at people who you think are smart with their money and you look at people who you think are dumb with their money and you consider the things that they do and the ways that they might think about money, you can interpret and perceive them in a way that might benefit you. Luck and risk are two sides of the same coin, but don't chase perfect skill. If you chase perfect skill, you'll be filtered out because you should account for luck. Success doesn't equal perfect skill. Success also includes a lot of luck. But that's why you shouldn't necessarily strive for perfect accuracy and uncertainty, because you always need luck on your side. Because if you have all the knowledge in the world and all the skill and you keep getting unlucky, you might be filtered out because you consider that unsuccessful. Long-term consistency is greater than short-term brilliance. Time is the biggest force in wealth building. Warren Buffett made 99% of his money, 99% after the age of 50. And before that, he was accruing in smaller amounts. Maybe it was a lot more than most people. Maybe it wasn't. I'm not exactly sure. But it was smaller amounts that accrued into incredible amounts because of the wonder of the world, which is compound interest. It's an insane thing. Getting rich requires taking risks, but staying rich requires fear and humility. If you are not fearful about losing your money, you will take the same risks that you did when you had nothing. And obviously, when you have less, you're more likely to put on more risk, which leads you to make more. And then when you have more, you should obviously do the opposite effect because you still have the same coin with risk and luck on both sides. So if you're taking on more risk because you have less money, that makes sense. But when you get money, you should always be less risky. Freedom is true wealth. Money's highest value is independence and not luxury. Most people just want freedom. That's why people want money. They don't want fancy things and fancy jets, but if you want those things and you want too much of them, you'll never feel wealthy. And always remember, everyone is trying to make sense of the uncertainty. Finance is 10% math and 90% human behavior. That means that 90% of the time, you need to consider what you shouldn't do, what people are doing. This is a separate topic. I talk about all these type of things in my other videos, but it's important because if you do not understand what people do, then you're prone to doing it, and then you'll go down that rabbit hole of losing. Really, one of the biggest things that you should take away from this book is that money and the markets rewards people who understand themselves and what people do wrong more than the people who actually know everything. That's one of the biggest takeaways in The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This is the board without me standing in front of it. If you learned anything from this video or liked it, please like and subscribe. Thank you.